Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to check out a smart display from Yeslac that was made specifically for the Model 3 and the Model Y 2024 edition and later. The one that we're using obviously is on my Model 3 2024 edition, the dubbed Highland edition one. And this display not only gives us the ability of seeing a speedometer, a few other functions, different UI elements, but it also gives us the ability of running CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly connected to our car, which means we get so much more functionalities by just adding one small display right behind our steering wheel. This is TK, and again, this is the smart display from Yeslac made specifically for the Model 3 2024 edition, Highland edition, or later. Like and subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified whenever we have new videos for you about Tesla cars on this channel. So we're going to start off first and foremost with the unboxing and what comes in the actual packaging, and it's pretty much straightforward. There's a lot of things in here. The model number that I got here is referred to as the V89 Pro. It's called the Intelligent LCD Meter V89 Pro. It comes with a display unit entirely assembled with two cables that are connected to it. One cable is supposed to go to the camera, which we're not going to worry about because they didn't include that in the kit that they sent me. But the other cable goes basically what connects directly into the side connection that we have on the right side, passenger side of the car, which we do need to get into. Now, we do also need to be able to actually remove the dash, the front dash cover that we have on our car, to be able to route the cable all the way from the left side to the right side of the car. And of course, all of this, they provide us an instruction manual. There's a video to follow. All the information that you need is pretty straightforward. But what I like about it is we get the display. We get a fishing line, which essentially is what we're going to use to run the actual wire from the top part of the car to the bottom as it routes to the side of the car. And we obviously have the connecting cable directly in, two cables that we need to connect into the side that will interface the display to the car, since that's how we're going to be able to talk to the Tesla. And last but not least, some electrical tape to be able to actually, I would say, secure your wire as you're trying to thread it using that fishing line that they included in the box. And that's pretty much it. Really, it's pretty straightforward as far as the installation. It did take me about 10 to 15 minutes because, again, I've done this before, but it may take you a little bit longer. Take your time. The biggest thing that I'll say overall is the routing of the wire itself from the right side of the car to the left. For me, I ended up going a little bit further to the right above where my glove compartment is, and I basically ran it in there and then ran it through the top part of my dash cover. And of course, at that point, I replaced my dash cover over there. It looks beautiful. It looks very clean. You won't even know that it's not even stock. It looks very nice, and it actually does match the coloring that we have. Now, as far as the actual configuration when it comes to air ventilation, this does have a pass-through functionality, which means it actually connects to the AC vent on your dash, or essentially right behind your steering wheel, and it runs the air from the bottom below the display towards you as the driver. We lose the functionality of being able to actually move the driver's side up and down, right and left. That's because it's now funneling through that, but it's something to keep in mind if you're considering to get this display, so you're not surprised when you get it. And that's pretty much it. The installation, literally, again, about 15 minutes. Once you put it on, mount it on, reattach everything, put everything on, turn it on, and then basically the display has pretty much power through the car, and it actually communicates to the car. Now, the few options that we're going to see here, we're going to talk about all the different options you get in here, the different UI elements, and that'll give you a better idea of how this display functions. So the experience that we get in here as far as the dashboard, when you open up the settings, again, you swipe down from the top when you're parked. We have the ability to launch in CarPlay, Android Auto, changing the configuration of where basically if you're getting this in a car that's in the UK or where the steering wheel is on the opposite side, this is pretty much how you change it. Bluetooth connectivity indicated here, so you can connect. We have the ability of opening the passenger side door, basically the back driver's side passenger door, and the back passenger side right side of the car. The ability of folding and unfolding our mirrors, ability of moving the front, the side seat here. This is the passenger seat forward and backward. If you normally precondition your battery, this is going to be how you initiate it, or you can also just navigate to your charging station. Volume up, volume down. This is the actual unit itself's volume. So if you notice that the audio is playing back a little bit low, this is going to be how you configure that. You raise and lower that. And then of course, this supersedes what the volume level coming into it is. Settings section takes us directly into the actual unit. Again, just last but not least, CarPlay and Android Auto are initiated from here, and you do need to have those connected to a smartphone, and they are configured to run wirelessly. No wires need to be connected. Going into the settings section, now this was actually updated for me from the original when I first received the unit, so make sure you go in under the OTA section here and follow the instruction that they give you here. I'll give you a second show here. You can actually go in and change and update the app OTA by configuring the section here. So when you click that, it'll explain to you that you need to turn on a hotspot on your mobile device, change the name of the hotspot to car, and then put the password 1234567 and then the display will automatically connect to that, share the internet from your device, and then of course update the unit itself. And I did receive one update to the app, not to the system, not to the CAN OTA. So the APP OTA did get updated since I've received it. Now, as far as the options that we have in here, pretty straightforward. Changing the language, there's a few options in here. So these are all the languages. Arabic apparently is also supported, in English. Time zones, you can configure this to align it. This is not the correct time zone for where I am, but this was the only way for me to get the time on this display to match my car, which essentially is saying UTC +7. And of course, we can change the temperature configuration from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Hours, it defaults to 24. You can change it to 12. Speed here, you can turn that on for the US. Tire pressure, you change that to PSI. You can change the color of the car from blue, red, gray, white, black, and then blue. Those are the colors that are supported. There's two UI themes in here, 1 and 2, and then I'll explain to you and I'll show you guys some examples from those as well. Brightness level is the ability of configuring it. You can go straight and get it customized to the level that you want. Also, plaid switch, if you have a plaid, this is going to work there. OTA, we talked about that. The front camera is not connected. The wire is sitting on the side, so we don't have that. We don't have to worry about that. Audio output, I defaulted it to Bluetooth audio so that it configures directly into the car. Phone link, of course, this is going to be the ability of switching between full screen and split screen when you're connected using Android Auto. And when it does that, essentially is when you're using Android Auto, or if you're using CarPlay, it's going to put the actual display, the UI display, on the right side of your display, providing you that experience. You'll notice here it says CarKit 9FA3. That's the actual Bluetooth connection that you need to connect to your phone. This will not show up on your car, so you do need to make sure that that's connected to your phone so you can launch Android Auto. And of course, you could just turn that back on by just saying phone link. And last but not least is Rainbow Road. This one is whenever you're using FSD on your car, by default it's turned on, meaning whenever you turn on FSD, it turns into Rainbow Road configuration on there. And that's essentially just a different option. You can disable it directly when you're parked, and at that one, it'll just go back to normal configuration. Now, let me show you guys real quick the difference between the two separate UIs. First and foremost, you do need to be in drive mode. So I go ahead and go brake, and I'm going to go ahead and put myself into drive. And this is one of the two UIs. On the left side, you'll see a nice little speedometer. On the right side, you have a little bit of a configuration. You can see the tire pressure by default if the front camera was connected, but it's not. You also have the ability of using CarPlay. You'll be able to basically connect it. You can use your finger, by the way. It is a touch display, or you can use the right wheel on any 2024 and older, newer Model 3. On the right side, we can go to Android Auto. Last but not least is jumping into settings, and that just takes us to this UI element in here. If I want to change the UI to UI 1, I'll go ahead and return. That changes us essentially to this configuration. It's very straightforward, a little bit cleaner, not necessarily more of a speedometer, kind of like the UI element. Personally, I like to use UI 2, but that's again more of a personal preference. When you go back into return, again, if you're parked, it's always going to be this way, even if you're using CarPlay or Android Auto from a parked position, not from a stopped position, meaning if you're driving and you stop at a light, this does not default back. Again, straightforward. You can launch it directly from here. You can go straight into Android Auto. It does automatically try to connect. For me, I've been configuring it with my S25 Ultra, and it's pretty straightforward. It connects, it launches Android Auto, connects Bluetooth, and then of course, every time I get into the car, it automatically launches Android Auto for me, which makes it very nice. So what we saw there essentially is a lot of functionalities. Android Auto and CarPlay work very nicely, but I will say that you can't use both at the same time. Meaning, if you've connected Android Auto and it's connected to the car, CarPlay won't launch. You'll actually get like an error message saying like it does not exist. You do need to disconnect your device, meaning if you have it set up. For me on my S25 Ultra, all I needed to do was turn off my Wi-Fi and my Bluetooth connection. And then from there, all you have to do essentially is just turn on the CarPlay and connect it that way, if you have an Android and an iOS at the same time. And I've been using it for, again, about a month and a half now, almost about a month and a half. And I will say I did receive one update, as I mentioned to you guys, and that allowed me to be able to turn off the Rainbow Road. Initially, when I first got it, the Rainbow Road was turned on, but I wasn't able to disable it. There was no setting for that. We did go through that. I spoke to YesLag. They pushed an update for me, and then that allowed me to actually have that button, as I showed you guys on the bottom right in the settings section. Straightforward. Everything works great. And other than that, it actually works beautifully, and it's very nice. Android Auto is actually very responsive and very fluid, and I love the fact that it allows me to do split screen because it's a large enough of a display. If you do the phone link mirroring, meaning your phone link sits on the right side and the display shrinks to the left, that one works, but I feel like I don't feel like that is really a needed thing. If you're going to use Android Auto, use Android Auto. If you're going to use CarPlay, and just use it for the full size of the display. The processing power that we have in there is pretty nice, and again, running it on the latest Android device is not going to put any problems there. So performance works really nice, very responsive. You can't get into the settings when you're driving. You have to park. You have to be in park mode for the settings to even show up. That's something to keep in mind. You're able to change between the 2 different UIs in there. Again, jump between Android Auto, CarPlay, all of the things that you want to do very nicely. And of course, at the end of the day, I feel like that this is a must-have for any Tesla owner that loves to have the dash configuration that we lost when we moved over to a Tesla. Everything is through a display in the center, which makes it sometimes a little bit hard to always have to look to the right. Now, my speedometer is right in front of me. I have access to my Android Auto. It also does support voice commands to be able to speak directly to Google Assistant and be able to actually command it to play music, search for things, navigate to places. Works really good. And if you don't have the connectivity function on your car, meaning you don't want to pay that extra fee, this actually can save you about $10 a month, because now you have up-to-date maps running off your device, straight connected there, and always get the latest information. And again, just for me, I'm more of an Android Auto type of situation, so it works really good. But I did test it out with CarPlay, and it, again, ran just as smoothly as Android Auto. There's no stutter, no issues. Once you're in the UI, it's pretty straightforward. And again, it connects to your phone's internet connection, so you don't have to worry about sharing internet connection or opening hotspots, whatever. Everything works just the way that it's supposed to. I do want to say thank you very much to the team over at Yeslac for letting me have this and allowing me to actually test it for over a month, really get the feel of it and testing it out. And of course, helping me with updating the ability of removing Rainbow Road. Not that it's a personal, like I didn't want it, but it's, for me, I wanted it to mirror how the car drove, and the car didn't have Rainbow Road on. But if you do turn on Rainbow Road on your car, you can turn it on in there as well. You'll get the effect to continue. And I like the fact that we're able to support multiple languages, different colors on the car. I'm hoping more updates will come in the future, giving us more features. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of this display? Is this something that you guys have been wanting, and now hopefully you guys could try it? Again, as usual, thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual, and I will see you in the next video, hopefully with more accessories for our Model 3 and Model Y in 2025. Bye-bye for now.